in the space of science and colossal. Insider reality is the subject of what existed before the enormous blast has mixed discussions and captivated characters for a long time. This basic solicitation doesn't simply test how we could translate the universe. It challenges the authentic farthest reaches of human information and vision, remaining at the edge of presence, investigating the gigantic shadowiness and pondering what lay there before our universe was conceived. The occasion of the huge explosion checked the dawn of history, space, whatnot. We know at any rate, was there a second prior? This might there at any point have been a condition of nothingness al before the self-absorbed bunch began, and assuming this is legitimate, was it, or maybe there was something essentially seriously alarming that existed before time itself. As we plunge further into this question, science takes us on an excursion past universe's early phase into considerations that oppose our insight. Physicist Brian Cox, known for his examination concerning the wonders of the universe, recommend that something astounding could have existed before the enormous detonation. He moves us to reevaluate our idea of the real world and presence in this assessment wheel. Separate the science, the hypothesis, also the stunning insider realities that could get a handle on what existed earlier, to all that will investigate thoughts like vast expansion, quantum variances, dull energy, and even multiverses. The answers we've uncovered may very well stun you, yet they could likewise open new understandings of our situation in the universe, intend to jump profound into a world past creative mind science, where the obscure still breezes around the shadows, leaving researchers stunned and in some cases even resentful. We should investigate what existed before the huge explosion and why these theories challenge all that we accepted we knew to understand what may have existed before the huge explosion. We first need to painstakingly look at what the huge explosion really was. The enormous detonation, as researchers characterize it, alludes to the second when the universe became amazingly hot and thick, quickly extending to set off the production of all matter, energy, and boundless powers. When we look toward the night sky, we see evidence of this hot start, with systems fanning out from an early beginning stage. Yet for what reason did this occur? Furthermore, was there a period before this thick, hot beginning? According to the hypothesis of astronomical expansion, there was to be sure first. What's more, it was way off the mark to void, or that's what quiet vast expansion recommends. Prior to the enormous detonation, that the universe was in an express that was cold, unfilled, and loose, essentially like a colossal vacuum. At any rate, this vacuum wasn't totally unfilled. It contained an epic measure of energy that energized the quick advancement of room itself. This extension, called expansion, occurred so quickly that it basically laid the preparation for all that would, following a negligible portion of a subsequent space, reached out at amazing speeds until the development eased back and the energy changed into issue part particles. What's more, the powers we see as a large bang. However, what was the idea of this energy? For what reason did it out of nowhere expand the universe? And for what reason did it stop? Researchers accept this immense extension made patches of the universe, each encountering its own huge explosion. Envision a texture extending unendingly, with little bubbles framing occasionally, each bubble addressing a universe including our own. This thought, called the inflationary multiverse, proposes that there are possibly endless huge bangs. Furthermore, a perpetual number of universes. Our on is only one of numerous. This enormous, mind-bowing reality challenges our cognizance of the very universe itself and leaves us with an inquiry. What else is out there? The idea of nothingness before the enormous detonation is speculative, not genuine, according to our current seeing, paying little mind to whether you dispense with all energy particles and radiation from the universe, it would in any case not be really void. Our universe is loaded up with dim matter, dull energy, quantum fields, and different powers that weave an inescapable texture of something even in its most void structure, regardless of whether we envision stripping away these powers, leaving a dead void. The universe would in any case produce new sorts of energy. This reality alone is bewildering to researchers, as it proposes that valid nothingness may be unimaginable in any event inside our comprehension. As we test further, we find that space itself has properties, decides, and constants that kept from being totally vacant. Envision making a locale with, in a real sense, nothing in it, no particles, no radiation. Furthermore, no energy with the exception of quantum fields. Also, central constants, these would still exist, recommending that this nothingness has properties. For example, there's a peculiarity called 0 point energy, which addresses the least conceivable energy condition of quantum fields. In this state, particles can in any case immediately show up and evaporate, making a spooky reverberation of development even in what ought to be vacant space. These difficulties are thought of a genuine void, and recommends that yes, even before the enormous detonation, there was something that researchers are, as it were, starting to see. Maybe the most astonishing hypothesis in present-day cosmology is the chance of timeless expansion. If expansion could make our universe exist, it's conceivable it could proceed endlessly. Brian Cox depicts as stunningly huge inflationary multiverse where universes are unendingly made and keep growing. I am envision each huge explosion is a flash lighting one more universe, while expansion go on in various areas, making incalculable different universes. This cycle could in principle continue until the end of time. This thought of limitless universes gives ascend to an enthralling thought of a fractal universe where each new universe could really make its own huge explosion. Every universe exists as a different, autonomous space unaffected by the others because of the quick extension of space. For researchers, this hypothesis is both invigorating and disrupting, as it recommends an everlasting multiverse with no conclusive starting or end. Consider the possibility that our universe is simply one point in an immense, boundless structure, perpetually growing and making more, and consider the possibility that the disrupting truth is that there is no previously or later except for just a timeless pattern of universes shaping and rotting how we decipher nothingness. Changes when we consider quantum field hypothesis. As per this hypothesis, the universe isn't simply a assortment of issue drifting in space, rather is an intricate organization of energy fields that fill the universe, interconnecting to make all that we notice. These fields are like undetectable seas with particles going about as waves or unsettling influences. In any event, when fields are at their most minimal energy level, known as the vacuum state, there is yet dynamic. Particles can show up and disappear in these fields, immediately acquiring energy previously returning it. This peculiarity results in virtual particles, elements that momentarily exist and afterward vanish, leaving just a faint memory of their presence. The thought of virtual particles challenges the idea of a genuine void. Envision a void universe where all matter, radiation, and energy are eliminated. Would you have outright nothingness? As per quantum field hypothesis, you wouldn't. Even in a vacuum, fields would stay dynamic once in a while, delivering transing particles. This consistent movement in what ought to be void space recommends that the universe doesn't perceive our concept of if dull energy formed the conditions, prompting our universe's creation. It challenges how we might interpret starting points. Furthermore, brings up additional significant issues. Could dull energy have existed forever, rising above the dawn of history, or was it a brief peculiarity igniting the quick development of room previously, changing into its current unpretentious structure? Another weighty hypothesis proposes the chance of a previous universe. The cyclic model, supported by certain physicists, proposes that our universe is important for a perpetual pattern of birth, demise, and resurrection. In this model, the huge explosion was not the outright starting, yet a change from an earlier contracting universe to an extending one. This grandiose equilibrium infers that the universe might have no evident start or, furthermore, just periods of pressure and development. This thought is upheld by certain highlights of the universe, for example, its consistency and the infinite microwave foundation radiation. Anyway, it moreover brings up the issue of what drives this timeless cycle, what powers oversee the pressure of one universe and the development of the following, and if the universe has consistently existed in some structure, does that interim itself as an boundless circle past these models? Some researchers suggest that our universe could be a reenactment. This disputable thought recommends that what we see as the truth is a developed, possibly made by cutting-edge creatures or substances. Assuming that genuine, it would reclassify the idea of before the huge explosion as the beginning of our universe would lie not in physical processes, yet in the goals of its makers. Might the enormous detonation at some point essentially have been the commencement of a recreation, its on switch? While SP theoretical, this thought challenges how we might interpret presence and the idea of the real world itself. Investigating these hypotheses requires logical thoroughness as well as philosophical reflection. The subject of what existed before the huge explosion contacts on the most profound secrets of presence. It drives us to face the restrictions of human information and the likelihood that a few insights might remain perpetually past our venture. As we dive into the science of the obscure, one thing turns out to be clear: the tale of our universe is undeniably more perplexing and entrancing than we could have envisioned. Climate through the lens of quantum mechanics, cosmology, or philosophical request. The quest for this question uncovers the significant interconnectedness of all things and the limitless